You are listening to the People Centric Podcast, where we talk through the toughest challenges that people face at work and give practical advice to fixing those challenges. Thanks for joining our movement to create workplaces that are happier, healthier, aligned, and empowered by putting people at the center of all that we do.
Hey, people-centric leaders. So one of the things we often hear from companies that we work with and organizations is this idea of employee appreciation. When we talk to business owners and managers, they want their employees to know that they do feel appreciated. They are so appreciative of their employees. And oftentimes they tell us how much they appreciate their people and how hard they work and what they do. Unfortunately, they're often not very good at sharing that with their employees. And we hear that from frontline employees who say, like, nobody appreciates all the work we do. We put on all these hours and all this stuff. And whenever we bring up problems, they just kind of tell us, just go fix them. And we get really frustrated. And it leads to this really weird idea of how do we show appreciation to employees in a way that they would appreciate it? And it leads to things like in the office, we were talking about like the party planning committee, right? It's like, okay, we want to have parties in the office so that we have this really fun culture and everything. And so we leave it to the employees, and the party planning committee sits down and they meet and they come up with these great ideas, and they come up with what we like to call affectionately taco truck projects. Let's have a taco truck park outside of our office on Tuesday or Friday or whatever day it is. And they're going to have tacos for everybody. Or we're going to go out and we're all going to hang out after work and go get a drink after work or something. And all those types of things tend to happen. But there's this weird line too that happens, like, okay, so you spent all day at work and now you get to go spend more time with your coworkers. Like, is that really what people want? So we're going to talk about this paradox of workers want to be recognized more. They want to have more fun at work. The bosses want that too, but it sometimes gets really, really awkward and turns into forced fun, or the party planning committees, can be sometimes a very toxic culture. So we're going to talk a little bit about that and peel back the layers between what happens with party planning, forced fun, employee recognition, all of those things. We're going to get deep into this. This is going to be a really good topic today. We're excited about it. And so today we've got Diana Royalty. Diana, joining us from Tacoma. What's your most fun that you've ever had at work? What's the most fun activity that you ever did? I'm going to put you on the spot.
I don't have fun at work. I work at work.
Thank you.
I'm just kidding.
Thank you. Wow.
I'm just kidding. Man, I don't know. We've done a lot of really fun stuff. I think the funnest for me was the whiskey in Louisville.
That was fun.
The bourbon in Louisville. Yeah, that was really fun. We went to Maker's Mark and we had like a whole day where we just hung out together and drank bourbon. And that was rad. We ate biscuits and fried chicken, and I don't know, it was like the best day ever.
That was a fun day. That was a lot of fun. Yeah. We went out, we work with a client out there who makes the bourbon barrels. So we had a session out there that two of us were going to. So we just said, let's just fly the whole team out and spend an extra day out there. And so we got to do a little bit of whiskey trail, bourbon trail stuff out there in central Kentucky. Mm-hmm. And yeah, that was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
That was good. Okay. So I'm glad that you came up with something. I'm glad that sometimes you enjoy your job. It's good to hear.
I mean, I prefer to work at work, but that's just me. I think that's just a me thing.
Okay, well, that's fair. Yeah, there might be some others that feel like that as well. So we also have from our team, we have Stephanie Anderson. Stephanie, tell me about, like, what's the most fun thing that you've done at work?
Oh gosh, I was trying to think of this while you were asking Diana fun things that I've done at work. Because kind of like Dan, it's been mostly work, but that is fun sometimes. I worked in an organization once that used to like do like fun, like Top Golf, Big Shots Fridays. And that was always super fun with the team, because it was just like, hey, let's just all leave the office at 3 and just be done and go hit golf balls, rather unsuccessfully on my part. But the snacks were always very good, which made me happy. And it was a great kind of lead into the weekend, but it also was kind of no pressure of like, sometimes then people would just come hit one golf ball and go home. And it was like, great, here's some extra time. And sometimes that's really fun, just to have time.
I will always show up for good snacks. You know what I mean? Like cheese fries. You got me.
100%. 100%. Like if there's good food, I will be there.
Tachos, I'm in. You don't even have to say anything else. Like, yeah, let's do this.
I had cheese fries for dinner last night.
What?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I'm so jealous right now.
Yep. Fell off the wagon hard and ate some cheese fries for dinner last night.
All I'm hearing is vegetables and protein. Like how is that not a balanced meal?
Yeah. It's got milk in it. It's vegetables. Yeah. It's really good for you. Yeah.
So good.
So as we jump into this topic, there's a little bit, we've kind of called it almost a paradox, right? Of this idea. So talk about like when owners try to go to employees and say, what can we do to show appreciation for you or make work more fun? What kinds of things do employees typically come up with? What do we see in terms of that?
Listen, employees always say things like, let's go do something. Let's have a potluck. Let's hang out. Let's go to drinks. Let's do a trail. Let's play pickleball, right? They always come up with these things and they're good things. And then we do one or two of them and then people are like, oh man, we messed up. We don't want to do any more of these things.
Yeah. Well, after like the third potluck and you're like, they keep bringing the same casserole every time and we didn't like it the first time. Like, yeah, like these ideas get stale really quickly, which I think is so disappointing to leaders and owners because they're like, oh, wow, like it was great the first time. And why does all of a sudden like it sucks now and nobody wants to come or bring their grandma's casserole? Maybe we were too mean about the casserole.
Man, someplace I worked at, I used to have themed potlucks every month. And so then we just started bringing the same things, but calling it something different. Like the one that sticks in my mind is we had a coworker, his name is Tim. He used to bring jalapeno corn every time. And it was like, this corn casserole is really good. Everyone liked it. But he just changed the name of it every time to make it match the theme. So if it was Halloween themed, he was like, it's spooky jalapeno corn. But it was the same thing every time.
I love that. That's such a great adjustment. I've seen lots of companies who will do something like that and get into a cadence of a regular thing. It's kind of like the Office episode where Jim decides to combine all the birthdays for the month because they're all getting tired of that. And he gets burned and nobody likes that because everybody wants to customize thing for their birthday, but nobody wants that at the same time,
It's so true. It's so true. Everyone thinks they want these things and then they're executed and you're like, oh, we don't really want these things. So what?
Well, it's kind of, it's like that paradigm of like, make it extremely fair, but also extremely unique and special to me as a person and what I would actually appreciate and like, thank you.
Yeah. Me, every single me in the company, if we could just come up with something super customized and all of that, so why do you think it happens like that? Why do we get into that kind of fun stuff and the employees start to plan it and they focus on those kinds of things, but then why does it fall apart or why does it get kind of stale pretty quickly? Any thoughts on that?
I mean, I think everybody it's that theory, right? In theory, I do think it's fun to hang out with people I work with. I do think the team building stuff is important. I do love getting together with you guys most of the time. In theory, all of these things sound like team building. It sounds like fun, but I do think that the first one is fun. I think most people enjoy the first one, the first potluck, the first taco truck, the first whatever. And then once you start getting in some weird cadence where it's expected, then it's no longer fun because now it's an expectation.
Yeah. And it's interesting that the expectation doesn't have to even be set by management. If the rest of the team sets it, I've seen companies that get into a rut, even the employees that lead that, right? What happens though when then it comes from management and management starts to insist on it or endorse it? Does that get stale faster because people start to see it? Like you just kind of suggested that even if the employees create it, they get stale. Does it worse when management does it?
I think so. It's why I struggle to like bring up to our team, like, should we go have fun together? Because I want our team to bring that. I don't want to do that because I think it's worse if you, Don, or I are like, let's go have fun. Like, let's fly everybody to Louisville so you can spend time away from your friends and family to drink bourbon, which, Bethany doesn't even like bourbon. So let's go do this fun thing that's not really that fun for everybody.
Well, and I think it's a little bit terrifying to be that leader in the organization, right? To like pick the fun, because what if you pick the wrong fun or no one likes it? Now suddenly it becomes really easy to start pointing a finger and being like, well, I know it wasn't very good, but it was just Stephanie's idea. Like she kind of likes that. Or in a toxic work culture, then it can become very like blamey and judgy if you don't understand me and you don't have any pulse on what we all would like or what we would do. So I think a lot of times leaders just throw it to their team, honestly, just to so as to not be the one who gets blamed when the fun sucks or the people don't like the 15th t-shirt that you created for them. And now I have a drawer full of swag and the boss keeps spending the money this way versus like, well, they asked for more t-shirts.
Yep. And I also think managers can talk themselves out of fun things because of things like cost and liability and risk mitigation. I mean, I have heard so many managers be like, well, we can't do that because we could get sued if this, and this happens. Man, every time I could talk myself out of fun every time because of that stuff.
Yeah, we'll see that a lot where you start to overthink it, right? Everybody starts to overthink it because they're trying to keep everybody else happy. And it gets really, really off-centered really, really fast. So, we talk about that fun stuff. It reminded me of a story when I was in one of my engineering positions early on. I had a boss who every year, right before Christmas time, his thing was he would go out and hand out jackets to everybody in the company. And it was these really nice, like Carhartt jackets that we wore a lot in the plant and stuff. And people would wear them and it had your name sewed onto the front cover, and it was a front cover, the front pocket. And so everybody really liked those jackets. And one year he went around to hand out the jackets, and that was his thing. Like he would hand out he'd bring the box and he'd go around personally hand thanks for your work this year. Here's your jacket. And every year people get a new jacket because they'd wear out. One year somebody made the comment and looked at him and says, "Oh, good, another jacket." They made that comment to him.
Aw, man.
He went back around and took them back from everybody. He claimed them all back. He took all of the jackets back from everyone on the team.
Well, it broke his little heart. I mean, man, oh man.
The funny follow-up to that, so that happened the year before I got there. So like when I came in, like I would see all these people, like everybody's got these jackets. When do I get my jacket? That would be awesome. And it was kind of a known thing internally. Like if the operators didn't like the engineers that came in, they wouldn't tell them that story. Instead, they would tell them like, go see Ray. He'll give you your jacket. Go see him, ask him about the jacket.
Did they tell you to ask him? They did tell me. They did tell me not to ask him. No, they did. They told me the story. Okay.
They told me the story. I said it and they warned me, and somebody said, because we like you, we're going to tell you not to do that. But there was this other engineer, and he started about 6 weeks after I did, and I'd already heard the story, and we were in the control room together, and he started going, where do I get that jacket? And he was kind of cocky a little bit, came in the wrong way probably. And one of the operators told him like, oh, you just got to go see Ray. I'm surprised you haven't gotten that yet. Just go see Ray. And so he wandered off. I should have said something to him, I guess, but I didn't. He wandered off, and pretty soon our plant manager, Ray, is on the intercom system calling the operator that sent him in there. Call my number, call 624, call 64. And we all started laughing because he knew he was in trouble, but it was good natured. But you're right. Those things, I think managers get frustrated because it's like, I want to show appreciation. I want to help my people to have more fun. But then when we do something, people don't like it, or they don't show up, or they don't do a thing. And it is really hard, Diana. Like we talked about it the year after we did the Louisville trip, which I think everybody really enjoyed. We talked about, do we do another trip? And asked everybody, and it took us a long time kind of going around on it, and then decided, no, we're not going to do another trip. Instead, we're going to do like a golf outing. So we did it's called Big Shots here in Springfield. We did that and
it's
had
like
a good time.
golf.
Yeah. We flew Diana back to Springfield, which is a long trip for Diana. It's a long trip for you to go either direction, but it's a long ways to go anywhere. But like next year, like we kind of have a little bit of a thing because we have a conference in Diana's town.
In Tacoma.
in Tacoma, like we're going to be right there, that two of us are going to have to go to already. So the question is, do we fly the rest of us out there? That would be pretty cool, but it's a 4-hour flight out that direction with a change. I mean, so it's a day's travel out, a day's travel back. Do people want to be gone that long? How busy are we going to be about that time of year? I mean, I know that everybody's kind of thinking of those things. We would have a blast. We would have a great time doing stuff. But like, do we do that? And I think it's hard. So what advice do you have, first of all, for managers and bosses and stuff who are trying to figure this out?
I gotta fully admit, my jaw is still on the floor from the jacket story. I'm not quite recovered yet. Of like the pendulum from fun to rage swung so quickly,
So fast.
so quickly in that story. Yeah, I might need a minute to still get over that, but I think a lot of this, like what it keeps coming back to, and I think, a word that we use a lot in business and in our consulting too, is like culture, right? Of like, how are we actually creating a culture where people feel valued? Because I think that's where some of these things miss so hard sometimes, is because like employers or managers don't really have a pulse on what the culture actually is, or they're trying to use these things in an attempt to like shift the culture. And so it's like, we're going to just throw some money or some fun or toys at these people, and that's going to make morale better. Like that's going to fix, the communication issues that these two people are having. So I think like that's kind of the heart of it, right? Of like, there's always something that's pushing behind these ideas that's culture related internally.
I think it's a great point. A lot of times we'll see managers say like, let's go get a bunch of gift cards and we'll hand those out to employees when we see them do something really right. Where that sometimes backfires is that employee A does something really well, employee B does something really well, manager only sees employee A do the thing, and then they give the gift card to A, and B sees that they didn't get the gift card. Like that's a little bit of a different thing when it's exchanged from an appreciation, like I truly appreciate what you're doing, into a thing. Then it makes us like mentally, there's a lot of psychology around that, right? Okay, well then what you just told me was worth $5 from Starbucks. That's what you just told me. The thing that I just did, I just stayed extra 3 hours at night. I would have given you back the Starbucks gift card if I didn't have to stay the extra 3 hours at work that night, those kinds of things. And we see that backfire quite a bit. So I like your point of maybe managers don't depend on this stuff. Instead, like train the managers and supervisors on how to give positive feedback. We've talked about this quite a bit. Managers tend to give feedback when things go wrong, not when things go right. And one of the best ways to lead your employees is to tell them when things are going right, not just when things are going wrong. That becomes more encouraging. That's the kind of feedback I think employees recognize that they feel that they need more than they think that they need. I don't know if that makes sense or not, but yeah, I think that's a great point. Diana.
Yeah, I think there's a lot to be said for asking your employees what they want and asking people what they want and being genuine. I think when we did Louisville, we said, do you really want to do this? We know it's taking time out of your schedule. We know you're leaving your family. Like, do you want to do it? And also something happened and we were like, oh man, I think it was just that we were crazy busy and everyone was traveling. And so we were like, we can cancel Louisville if everyone's tired. Like we can cancel it and give everyone their time back. And everyone said no. Everyone was like, no, we're still in. We still want to do this thing. But we never left it up to just the leadership to decide that. And if we had canceled it, it would have cost us money and all of this other stuff. But we left it truly a group decision and said, what will be fun for you guys and what do you want to do?
Yeah, that's one of the benefits of us being a smaller team, right? We can kind of just put it on the table and say like, we're willing to do this if you would like to do it. We can decide whether or not we want to do it or not. And unfortunately, a lot of times for us, it depends on the timing of the thing. Talking about next summer when we don't have anything currently scheduled sounds great. I think everybody's like all in. Everybody I've talked to about potentially going out west, people think that's a great idea. That sounds like a lot of fun. Now, starting in February, March, when we start to book out the summer and people look and say, wow, I'm going to be gone 3 weeks in a row. And one of them is going to be this trip out to the West Coast, that might change a little bit. So there's a little bit of, you're right. But if people choose themselves, it's that autonomy thing we talk about a lot.
Yeah. And then I also think there's something to be said for like letting something be fun and then not trying to recreate that fun, right? I don't think that every year we should go to Louisville now. Like that would be really like, what is the next fun thing that somebody wants to do? And does it have to be every month? Does it have to be every week? Does it, like find a real cadence, something that actually works, and then change it up. You're not going to replicate the fun every time.
Yeah, maybe we go to Lexington and drink bourbon, or maybe we go to Bardstown and drink bourbon, right?
Yeah. It's mildly different, but still the same.
Yeah, that's such a broad range of ideas. So
maybe we do a themed potluck every month. The theme is changing. It's the same thing.
This is Cinco de Mayo bourbon. Yeah, here we go. Just every month, just going back to your potluck idea.
Oh my. Yeah. No, Diana, I think you made a great point about like, it should be a both and when we're creating these things, right? Of like, we've seen where if it just comes from the employees, then there's fatigue that comes, I think, from that employee team that's been tasked with fun. And then if you just have it just be your managers and leaders, then again, we've talked about the pressures and feelings of failure that come with that. So I think if you make it a both and of like, hey, let's do some listening back and forth and understanding, because I think things that I've heard in business as well, when owners or leaders are trying to do something fun for the team, and especially when they plan like these expensive trips or expensive gifts, there's almost always a couple people who, if you talk to them, would just say, I'd rather just have the money. Like, I'd rather just be given that money to choose to do something with my family. And maybe I can put that toward my family vacation, or, I could then buy something that would be really great for me personally, versus feeling like I'm getting a gift that now it's like, oh, well, thanks for the watch that I don't like. Now I have to wear it all the time to show you that I appreciate you, but I really don't actually like this watch, and that's a rather specific example, but I think that's the benefit of kind of like tipping this idea upside down and saying like, well, what if you just did it completely differently? And what if you tried something you've never tried before? What if you listened all the way through your organization of what people would think is fun, or what they would appreciate, what they view as a good value add spend to the company for their time?
Yeah. And I would also add, like, keep going back to the reason you wanted to do this anyway. It's culture, but you also said that your employees want to be valued and appreciated. So maybe value and appreciate them and show that more often, right? You don't have to do this grand gesture. Sometimes it's okay to just say like, dude, I recognize that you're doing a really good job and thank you. And just that one off will eliminate a lot of the pressure to need to go do something big and grand, or to always bring in donuts or do the Friday pizza. Like, it eliminates that feeling of not being appreciated as much if you're actually being appreciated.
I completely agree with that. I think, to use like a 5 love languages word, the words of affirmation are completely undervalued when I think these topics are brought up of like, how do we value our employees? Well, yeah, what if you just consistently told them how much you value them? Like, gifts are great. And I think everyone appreciates a thoughtful gift, but that is like a subset of the population who that is the way that I really feel valued by you. So I think sometimes in the business world, we put too much emphasis on what do people get. And then for the people who would really actually just love like those words and being told, or the people who would just love time together, like they do love the potluck. And it's not because you spent money on the potluck, it's because everybody got to be together for an hour and we just got to talk. So I think of like thinking about that as well, of like, know your team and get to know your people and what would actually make them feel really valued and appreciated. And maybe you do it differently in different areas and for different people. Why does it have to be the exact same thing for every department across your whole company for every single person?
Yeah. Yeah. I know Don does give me appreciation different than he gives other people. Like he knows that I like very specific appreciation. I don't want him to just be like, thanks for all you do. I want him to be like, thank you for doing this, this, and this. And this was awesome. And you rocked at this. And I appreciate that. Like, I want specific appreciation. And I think he does know that because he does it differently for me, I think. But I also think that it's so important to vary it, because I'll never turn down a taco truck. You want to send a taco truck? Yes. Never gonna not appreciate a taco truck, but it's not going to make me feel intrinsically motivated.
I love that. Thank you for also saying we're not against taco trucks. because
Not against taco trucks. Pro
delicious
taco truck.
Very
delicious
pro tacos. Yeah.
Yes, we like tacos. So pro tacos. That's fantastic. Some of it, I'm going to drop a truth bomb and I'm going to ask another question here. This is going to the execs and the business owners on this call here. Okay. I think sometimes if we dig down to it, and I'm taking this not only from the conversations I've had with some of you, but also just for myself, if you really are honest with yourself, the reason you really want to do the really big hit stuff for your employees is more about your ego than it is about really, truly showing appreciation. That's a bomb, isn't it?
That
That's
hurts.
a truth bomb.
That hurts.
That's a truth bomb.
Hits close. Yeah.
I was just thinking as you were talking about the Louisville trip, like we did have a really good time on that, but I was thinking about how many times I've told people like, yeah, we flew our entire team out to Louisville. And I realized like, why did I say that? I'm saying that because look at how generous I am. Look how great we are.
It does sound amazing, but our entire team is like 4 people. So it's not really that big of a deal.
There's 5, Diana.
Back then there wasn't.
Oh, back then there was 4 of us. That's true. Yeah. But yeah, so make sure that you're doing that for the right reasons, like really gut check yourself. And like I've seen people do like really lavish vacations and things like that. And then they are very, very quick to talk about it outside of all the great things that they're doing. And I think, by the way, employees notice that too. Like that you just say you didn't do it just to appreciate it. You did it to kind of highlight what it is what they did. So I think there's some really good advice in there. We talked about kind of mixing it up. We talked about it's not about the stuff that you're giving. It is sometimes just about the words. I want to go a little bit different direction, talk about different mechanism that sometimes we see this happen. And I think some owners may be thinking about this as they hear this, is you want to get employee feedback. So you go to your employees and you do a survey or something like that. Or maybe you even form a team of employees and you say, okay, what things can we work on to make this better? You create them a lot. They have all kinds of names. It's the culture committee. It's the sunshine group. It's these are real names of groups that I know we've seen and stuff like that. There's nothing wrong with what we're saying here, but I know that owners sometimes complain that those turn into taco truck type committees and fun committees. They just tend to go that way. And sometimes owners and leaders aren't trying to do that. It's like you're not engaging anything meaningful. You're only engaging in the surfacey kind of things. It's all about you. It's about your employee experience, that kind of stuff. You're coming up with those ideas. Why does that happen? Why do we see that happen frequently? And what can businesses do to get them to do more meaningful type projects?
I think one thing that I almost immediately notice about those type of committees or groups is they're not actually given real problems to help solve. And so it starts feeling pretty meaningless pretty fast because it's, we're voting on the company t-shirt design again. And I'm sorry, I brought up t-shirts several times. I don't mean to knock t-shirts. Great idea. But I think it starts feeling really purposeless really quickly because these are people that are inside your company. They are working in your company. They're often frontline people that are brought into those type of committees to help add value. And they're sitting there thinking, okay, everybody's out here trying to solve this massive problem. And now I'm sitting here in this 1-hour meeting talking about what fun we're going to have or what things we're going to do. So I think that's one of the biggest misses of those committees is actually give them real world stuff and real business things that they can work on. What could they actually help you figure out and improve in your company that would make day-to-day life working in your business better, that would bring people joy. And that's a very undervalued fun in that respect.
Yeah, I love that. When we see those committees formed, they're often just said, what do you think? What do you want? What do you feel? And too often the employees just feel their work experience.
Yeah, I think that it's important to tie those back to the bigger picture. Like Stephanie was saying, it does need to go back to something bigger, tie it to the core values, tie it to the strategic plan, tie it to departmental goals, whatever it is, it needs to feel like it's more important than just fun. Because while fun is great, it's not valuable. And I feel like people really do want to feel valued. And that's the core of appreciation, right, Don? Value.
Yeah, if you give your same team that's coming up with those taco trucks and you will set out, this is what our plan is for this year. This is what our strategic plan is. This is our key objectives. How can you help us? They are going to, by helping the company, they're going to also help themselves, right? At the end of the day, that's That's a piece. Sometimes it's like, well, I think that they're just going to be helping the company. But if they're solving real problems together, that's a great way to bring the team together. That's a great way. Like Diana opened up this whole conversation when I said, well, when do you have fun at work? She's like, I don't have fun. I'm working. We're going to talk a little bit about that later, Diana. I guess we'll find out about your job satisfaction.
I don't like fun. I don't like fun.
It's not really a fun kind of person. But I mean, I think that, we think about work and fun, and it doesn't always have to be fun, doesn't have to always mean happy. It sometimes can mean fulfilling. If we're doing really good work and you feel like there's a purpose and you feel like you're accomplishing something together, that doesn't have to be fun, but it is something deeper than fun. It's fulfilling. It's good practice, right? This last week, like we were talking about our schedule, and it's been crazy. Like we've had a really crazy schedule. We've done multiple strategic plans for companies last week. We did a lot of travel as a team. There's been just a lot of stuff going on from that. And Diana and I were talking a little bit this morning. She was like, man, we got another busy week this week. Like, are you okay? And I'm like, yeah, you know what? Actually, we feel really like we've had some successful meetings with clients. We feel really good about what they're doing. That puts fuel in your tank. Don't rob your employees of that. Don't sit down and say like, oh, it's not about the work that you do on a day-to-day basis. It's really more about how many Starbucks coupons I give you, or t-shirts I hand out, or trips to Louisville that we do. It's not about that stuff. It is really, if you can find meaning in the work itself, that builds a strong culture.
Yeah, the things that you said you enjoyed last week were when clients said thank you, and this was awesome, and they found value in it. And that stuff is motivating. That stuff keeps you going. That's what fuels you and keeps refilling your tank time and time again. Tacos, still helpful.
Tacos, good. But when one of your clients literally stands up and says, you missed your calling, you could have been a stand-up comedian. That is what I'm talking about.
Who said, I got to make a call. Who said that? Who said it?
Sure. I don't want her to get in trouble, but she was very insightful because
when I find out, I'm going to call them and tell them that we still have to work with you and your giant ego. So back it down.
You are a fun black hole, Diana.
And you are a thief of joy. A thief of joy.
Thief of joy.
Okay.
All right,
I gotta jump in the middle. You're both doing great. We appreciate and love you both. You have both valuable roles.
No. We're good enough and smart enough. So let's jump into takeaways here. Let's talk about this. So we've talked a little bit about the fun committees, and we've talked a little bit about like employees trying to find their path to fun, but owners also getting caught up in that. What are your takeaways or your last words for our listeners here in terms of this topic?
I think for me, Don, you said something that really kind of hit home of like connecting this to your mission. I feel like even a lot of the companies that I've interacted with so far at People Centric have such human focused mission statements. And they're really, as an organization, focused on the change that they want to see happen in the world as a result of their business, how they're going to impact people's day-to-day lives, how they're going to serve their employees. So I think with this of like, don't let that get pushed aside just for the sake of like doing fun stuff and like the razzle dazzle of, corporate America, of what they kind of expect you to do as a leader for your employees. Of keep focused on that. How do you keep adding and building value toward that mission for your employees? Give them real things that they can contribute to, that make them feel like not only am I helping fulfill this awesome mission that I believe in, which is why I came to the company, but maybe then it starts feeling like, wow, this is really my personal mission as well. And how cool would that be if all your employees felt that way?
Ooh, I love that. Diana.
I love that. Mine sort of ties to that, and it's the human part of it, right? Know the humans that work there and appreciate them how they want to be appreciated. I think you said that earlier, Stephanie, of like, know what they want and give that to them. I think that's very cool. And still do the employee appreciation day or whatever and bring the taco truck, but know what your employees really want and appreciate them often in the way that they like to be appreciated. And do that with your coworkers too. I think we do a great job of calling each other out and saying like, hey, Bethany, thanks so much for doing that. You rocked it. Hey, Stephanie, you were very cool. Thank you for doing that. And I think that helps too. Like, it's not just boss appreciation, it's coworker appreciation.
I agree. And if your employees don't want the taco truck, you can find our address on the website and go ahead and just send those tacos our way.
That's right. Every time.
We would appreciate that for sure. Yeah. So in all of these ideas of appreciation, what occurs to me is that none of them will always work. You can't capture lightning in a bottle, right? So the thing that the great Louisville trip or whatever that is, there's temptation to keep doing that over and over and over again, and then it becomes forced fun. But the only thing that does work consistently is really good, authentic, positive feedback. Authentic, mission-driven, positive feedback is what works consistently. And I think that's our message to everybody. If you're an employee and you're looking for more appreciation, look for ways that you can help the company. If you're a manager and your employees, you want them to feel appreciation, just tell them. Just tell them when you see the things that they're doing and that's great. And then link it and show them the impact of the work that they make. So hope you enjoyed this episode. Hope you enjoy your next office party. Hope you're not looking at each other really weird with that gift card that's on your desk or the t-shirt that you're wearing right now at work, because I think remember too that those were all done with good intentions at the end of the day. So we hope that you enjoyed this episode, and we will see you next time.
Thank you for listening to the People Centric Podcast. We are so grateful for you joining us every week. If you like this content, please like and subscribe. Also, feel free to share on your social media with everyone that you know. It really does help us. If you would like to contact us, I have put our information in the show notes. Please reach out anytime. We love hearing from you. We will be back next week with a new topic. Until then, be well and lead well.